Just 5 days after Zion Pullen last appeared in a summer league game for the Grizzlies and went 0 of 3 from the field, the former Florida guard was waived by the franchise this week. And that move, as you probably know, freed up his two-way contract that now belongs to P.J. Hall, the former first-team All-ACC player at Clemson. On a scale of 1 to 7, Bennett, how excited are you for P.J. Hall coming to Memphis?
I'm always excited to welcome a new player into the organization, into town. I put it at
just don't show up at a press conference and do that heart thing. Because remember,
I remember the heart thing.
Greg Doyle did that to Caitlin, and that didn't go well. Don't hit him with a heart, but just like welcome to Memphis, PJ. That's sweet.
I'll put it at about a 3. Yeah, I would say about a
fair.
3.
That's a fair place.
I think if we're looking up in a few weeks, in a few months, and like we're relying on heavy P.J. Hall minutes in Grizzlies games, then something went wrong.
Something's gone wrong.
Yeah,
something has gone wrong. Yeah. I don't think there's any way around that.
But he had a really good summer league, and we'll see.
Hey, we'll see.
Yeah, I do think that one of the 3 two-way contracts, I thought one of them was going to go to a big no matter what.
And there were options within the Grizzlies summer league team, Armando Bacot being the biggest name among the possible options. But the franchise clearly decided to go in a different direction. They signed P.J. Hall. And for whatever it's worth, and you're exactly right, if you're relying on big P.J. Hall minutes, something has gone terribly wrong. But Paul Biancardi, who covers recruiting for ESPN, you know Paul, he tweeted this morning, thrilled that Memphis has signed P.J. Hall. And he's like, I've known him since he was in high school, terrific family, terrific all these things. You know what he said? There's a word in there that stood out. Unbelievable competitor.
Okay, I like competitors.
Well, it does feel like the franchise is really prioritizing that type of stuff. Like you hear Jemai Meshack talk, and it's like, oh, man, that guy just loves to compete. All he cares about is winning.
Yeah. And
then you hear Javon Small talk, and it's like, ooh, he's a dog, and he's a real competitor. And then you hear Cedric Coward talk, and it's like, man, you talk to people around him, and they are blown away by the competitive nature he brings to everything. And now here's another signing, and Paul Biancardi, who isn't speaking on behalf of the Grizzlies or Memphis. He's just talking as somebody who's known P.J. Hall for a while, and he says this guy is an amazing competitor. So it's just another, according to people who know him, amazing competitor, intense competitor coming into the franchise. In a small role, sure, but a role.
So I didn't see much of his professional career because he's played in the G League a bunch, right? But I do remember seeing him play against Memphis when Clemson came here. Was it 2 years ago Clemson came here?
Yes.
And played at FedEx Forum. And it's funny you say all that because I do remember him talking a lot during that game of he is a competitor. I do remember that about him at Clemson.
So for people who are less familiar, he played 4 years of college basketball at Clemson and was awesome in his final 3 seasons. Senior year, he averaged 18.3 points, 6.4 rebounds, and that was for a Clemson team that made it all the way to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament. As you noted, Bennett, he did play here inside FedEx Forum that final season, lost to Memphis 79-77. That was part of Memphis's incredible non-league resume. But P.J. Hall did have 21 points in that game.
That was a great game.
I actually remember talking about him, like spending time on him on the Eye on College Basketball podcast after his senior year and just sort of wondering why he didn't take advantage of the extra year of eligibility the NCAA gave all basketball players who played in that 2020-21 weird COVID season. Like if you played in that season, that did not count as a year of eligibility. So P.J. Hall, like R.J. Davis and a lot of different players, had a 5th year available to them this past season if they wanted it. And I was always like, do whatever you want to do. Like, it ain't my life. But why would you enter a draft where you're likely to go unselected when Duke or Kansas or Texas Tech or Alabama or somebody would probably pay you $3 million to play 1 season of college basketball? Like, people did make that kind of money this past season playing college basketball. So why wouldn't you want to make that kind of money playing college basketball when the alternative is likely to be undrafted? Seemed like a reasonable question from my perspective. Like I said, it's not my life. It's his life. And with his life, he decided to forego that final year of eligibility and enter the 2024 NBA draft. But he did not get picked. And he ended up playing in the G League and signing a 2-way contract for roughly $578,000. So he definitely did leave money on the table. He could have made millions of dollars playing college basketball last season and instead decided to get on with his professional career. And the result was going undrafted and signing a two-way contract for roughly $578,000. He appeared in 19 games with the Nuggets, basically did nothing. But in Summer League over the past few weeks, he did average 9.2 points, 5.6 rebounds, 1.6 blocks in 13.7 minutes per game. And this came after averaging 18.9 points, 11.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 1.1 blocks in 32 minutes per game with the Grand Rapids Gold this past season in the G League. So I guess this is the simplest way to put it. With the Grizzlies in need of front court help, given injuries to Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, P.J. Hall has been named the newest member of this organization. Zion pulling out, P.J. Hall in. So the Grizzlies' two-way players right now are Javon Small and P.J. Hall. Small Hall. It rhymes.
It does rhyme. That's
Small
nice.
Hall.
Okay.
That's our two ways right now. Do we believe, this is a question for you, Bennett, that Jemai Mashack will secure the third two-way contract from the Grizzlies?
I think without question. I mean, there was just so much buzz surrounding him. He had a nice summer league. There was so much buzz surrounding him. I think too, like, just reading the tea leaves, like he's doing interviews, like he's doing, team interviews and stuff. It feels like it's going that way.
It does certainly feel like it's going that way. It is certainly what I would endorse. Nothing against Zion Pullen, but when I watch him, and I'm not pretending I tune into every G League game, but when I put eyes on him, do you know what I see? A G League player.
Yeah, and it was like I saw Roser post this because he obviously saw him a lot last year with the hustle, and he did say that he was surprised that he had such a bad summer league, that he actually thought he was going to come in and really tear it up because he had such a good year last year in the G League.
Well, that's why we can be whatever with summer league, but for a Zion Pullen, this is like make or break your career type of stuff. I mean, he was playing on some level in Salt Lake City and Las Vegas for like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, who knows what happens to him next, but like his disappointing summer, perhaps it goes this way no matter what, but his disappointing summer at least played some role in him no longer, having the job that he had. And I understand why. Because when I watch him, I just see, how about this? With Mashack specifically, I can imagine that becoming something. Just because there's no physical limitations. He seems wired the right way. He showed the ability to make open jumpers in Summer League. First, he got drafted and told us, I can shoot it better than you think. And then he went to Summer League and he shot it better than we thought. And so when I look at Jemai Mashack, I can imagine this becoming something. I don't want to make it out to be something it's not. He's the last pick in the draft, and those guys usually don't become anything. All right? So he is fighting against odds in history. But when I put eyes on him, I can see it. There's enough there that makes me go, this guy, if a few things break the right way, this guy could be a real NBA player. I see that with Jemai Mashack. I've never seen that with Zion Pullen.
Right. And I think, too, like, obviously the injury situation, they were always going to sign a big. With Zach Edey to miss the beginning of the season and with Jaren to, potentially miss the beginning of the season, like, they were always going to put a big on a two-way contract just because they probably had to. And listen, it did work out for him last year. Like, they did the same exact thing with Jay Huff. They signed him off the Orlando Magic Summer League squad because he had a big Summer League. And I know last year went the way that it did, but at the beginning of the year, he was a very impactful player for the Grizzlies. Like, we all remember that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he mattered. He mattered for a minute.
Yeah.
Obviously, different franchises will handle their two-way contracts different ways. Sometimes you really just need them for depth purposes, and particularly in a season that's going to start certainly without Zach Edey and probably without Jaren Jackson Jr., you do need to just have a big on a two-way contract somewhere, just strictly for depth purposes. Even if you can't imagine P.J. Hall being anything more than what he is, you just kind of need what he is, maybe just to get through the early weeks of the season. But I do think at least one of your two-way players, and perhaps more than one, need to be somebody you can believe in becoming something. They need to be somebody where you go, okay, this person is not probably going to help us now, but there's enough interesting stuff here that I can imagine him becoming something. Zion Pullen, I can never imagine becoming anything, or at least much more than a good G League player. That's what I can imagine with him. I think he can be a good G League player, but I don't ever expect to turn on a television in the playoffs and see Zion Pullen ever, period. Just I'll stop there. I don't ever expect to turn on the TV and see Zion Pullen playing in playoff games. I don't know that Jemai Mashek ever will, but I can imagine that. I can see it. I can see it. The physical tools, the tenacity that he brings on certainly the defensive end of the court, the ability to move the ball that he showed in Summer League, the ability to make a shot. I'm not ready to throw him in the rotation tomorrow or even make him a full roster member today. I'm just saying I can imagine that player becoming something who helps them win games in FedEx Forum someday.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m.